Hey, how you doing? So in this video, I want to talk about the foundations of high-ticket coaching and consulting business. So many people want to build, scale, grow coaching businesses that are high-ticket, but they haven't yet set out their foundations and got clear about what the baseline pillars need to be to make that business successful. I see this a lot, and I think this is a really interesting and important topic to discuss. And if you stick with me, I'm going to provide some real valuable insights into the high-ticket coaching and consulting businesses that we've created and how we've been able to leverage and scale rapidly through the model that we use. Now, in this video, I'm going to cover these aspects. We're going to go through the core building blocks, the important foundations, the things that have to be in place to drive a successful high-ticket coaching and consulting business. We're going to talk about the simplest way to get client acquisition happening. Client acquisition is one of the biggest struggles for most coaches and consultants out there. And a lot of times we see this models that are created where people go and make it way harder than what it needs to be. It's simple. There is complexity, obviously, in getting the right types of clients. And we're going to discuss that as we go through this video. And we're going to talk about whether to scale or not to scale. This is a very important question that I think comes up quite a bit, where people are a little bit concerned or hesitant, or they dive into wanting to scale the business, but they haven't got the foundations right. And so that scaling doesn't make sense. There is only a time that's right to scale when you've got all the foundations in place. If you try to scale before then, you're going to leave yourself burnt out, and worst of all, you're going to crash your business. So it's important to understand the point of scale, and we'll talk about that too. And then finally, we're going to talk about what I believe is one of the most important, and I think it's a secret ingredient because most people don't know about this, that you can use to utilize as a leverage point to build a successful, world-class coaching and consulting business. All right, so who's this for? Today's video, it's for coaches and consultants who sell or want to sell products, packages, or services for $5,000 to $50,000. This is a model that is created around this type of price point. It's not low ticket and it's not super high ticket, but they can be utilized, and you can wrap those other models around this as well. We specialize in this sector because we've done very, very well creating products and services that we can sell for that price point. We have two very successful businesses. This is our first coaching and consulting business that we started in real estate that's generated more than $4.2 million in 2 years. We've helped our clients generate more than $5.8 million in recurring revenue. These are our high-ticket coaching clients. We sell these packages at $15,000 plus, and then we have our pink diamond clients, which we sell at $50,000 plus. These are super high-level packages. Now, in the years that we've been doing business, we've learned a lot and made a lot of mistakes. And I've personally spent more than $260,000 buying into high-ticket coaching and consulting programs so that I can educate myself and understand and learn the nuances and see what's working and what isn't working. And after going through my years of experience and learning and making mistakes, one of the key ingredients I've discovered is that if you want to have a successful coaching and consulting business, you need to have these core components working for you that you can leverage. Without them, you don't have success. Without them, it's hard to grow. Without them, people burn themselves out and they fail. So this is what's working right now. And what I found, and one of my most important building blocks, and we're going to talk about this today, is creating equity. Equity is a super important value aspect of your business. We'll break that down and I'll show you a few ingredients to that. It's about creating something valuable that's so desirable that your audience or clients or potential people just can't resist the thing, right? They want to have that thing. And that's why we have created a funnel that's called the Red Diamond Funnel, pretty much designed around high ticket and specifically finding high value clients so we can build a high value business and to be able to sell products at $5,000 to $25,000 or $50,000. Then the next layer up is you need to have, in today's trust recession, in the amount of skepticism that's out there today is so high that it's become very difficult to break through this barrier. And so you need to have a leverage point, and I'm going to talk about this in terms of client acquisition and what to leverage to break through that trust barrier a lot easier. When you have the mechanics to do that, amongst all the other things that you can do, it makes life a lot easier to get client acquisition happening. And it's really about becoming so admired that your audience just can't ignore you, that they want to do business with you. They desire to do business with you because you have a perception of higher value and you've broken this trust. You have trust in your business, right? This is really about raising your status and then crushing sales like clockwork. The next layer up you must have as a coach, consultant, or expert is control. If you want to grow a business, if you want to be making profit and you want to grow year on year on year, there is a big missing piece that a lot of people don't have in their business. It's control. They run around overwhelmed, tired, burnt out, worn out, and they're not able to manage the business from an upper level where they can run the business. What we find is a lot of people are in business and the business is just running them into the ground, and it becomes very hard to manage. Most people we speak to these days are just overwhelmed with the amount of things they have to try and do and keep up with just to stay ahead. And so the idea of control is to create simple systems so that you can become unstoppable. The more simple you make your day, the more simple you make your processes, the more simple you keep things around you, the more rapidly you can grow. And it's a very key ingredient that we have in our formula. All right. So I talk about these components. We break them down into multiple layers. I cannot cover everything in this video, but these are the core components, right? There is equity, trust, and control. These are systems that are integrated into our red diamond funnel. We're going to talk about the funnel in a minute as well. Right? These are the must-have ingredients to have success in a coaching or consulting business these days. You cannot go without it. If you want to learn more about all the stuff that we do and how we can help you build your own successful coaching or consulting business, we give away free training every week on how to do this. Subscribe to this channel and you can get notified about all the new stuff that we talk about every day and week. All right, now let's break this down a bit. Now we made $4.2 million on this funnel, right? We call this the red diamond funnel, and the building blocks to this is what I'm going to talk about today, the foundations. It's a fundamental principle of maintaining low cost client acquisition and having the efficiency to drive clients towards us and have a frictionless sales process. So to start off, the foundational blocks, right? Every business has to have something to sell. And when we talk about that, we're talking about the equity component. You have to have something to sell that's of value. That comes without saying that in the high ticket space, there's a lot of misunderstanding. There's a lot of long way about doing things. And then there's a lot of misinformation and craziness out there that's just got people so stumped and overwhelmed. If you're doing, there's multiple types of high ticket you can do. Now, we don't deal with people in our business, typically that don't have products or don't want to create products from $5,000 up. At $5,000, you can make a decent profit. If you have a good program set together and a product or offer that you can deliver that shows value from $5,000 upwards, it works. I've learned that in our business. $2,500 was my first coaching program that I sold. And I remember the day that I did that. I was super excited. I'd quit my job. At that time, it took me a long while to get to the point where I had my very first client. I had a lot of learning to do. Educated myself. I learned process. I learned systems. I learned how to drive clients into a pipeline. And that first sale was everything to me. It changed my whole life. But here's the thing. As soon as I started doing the training or the coaching about the subject that I was teaching, which was in real estate. My first business is in real estate. We still own that business, it's doing really well. I realized very, very quickly, and most people realize, that there is a lot of effort that goes into creating a high ticket program. There's a lot of energy that it takes to get from a person from A to B. And as soon as I started doing this teaching and putting stuff together, I learned that was not going to make me the fortune that I wanted to make. That was not going to get me to the place I wanted to get. Straight away, I had to figure out what we were going to do to make it change and better. That made me go back to the drawing board and figure out how to go from 2,500 up to a point where we're making enough profit to be able to drive the business, to take money, put it back into the business, pay for ads, and build and scale the business. This was not it. What we did work out was that we needed to have about $6,000 to $7,000 of profit to be able to put back into the business and drive a successful business and keep afloat and making profit. So that didn't do it for us, right? So we had to work out a package. Now, A fundamental building block of high-ticket coaching is to have something or some way of taking people from one place to the next. If you can't create the value proposition for your clients, it becomes really difficult to sell at a higher price. And so one of my biggest learnings over the years is that to build and develop process or systems or a formula, which I call it, that gives people clarity to get from one place to the next, just like we have in our Coach Launch formula, has allowed to make things easier and clearer for clients to know what they're biting onto and to see that that thing that they're doing is actually achievable. And when you create that kind of infrastructure in your process in selling, it makes for a much easier selling journey as you go through your pipeline. And I don't think many coaches or consultants that I see these days are putting the effort into creating a framework or a structure or a process that their clients can bite onto that's easy to consume, easy to use. A lot of the high-ticket coaches, and especially the stuff that I've bought into, I see just overwhelmed. You're interested and you're excited about going on that journey and you want to make the change in your business. So you buy this thing and you think, well, that's going to be a game changer. Then you realize how crazy overwhelming this thing is. And it's just, all you're getting is fire hosed with a lot of information. Now, creating simplicity as a foundational building block to your business means that you're going to have more clients open and easy and willing to want to do business with you. Because as soon as there's complication and overwhelm, people just shut down. They're not consuming your product, they're not consuming your service, and there's complaints and problems and all kinds of things come out of that. So the first thing was to understand what the process looked like that we were taking our clients on. Once we knew the exact steps that we were taking them on, we then put that into a package, and then we needed to price that package. Now, one of the things that is important to note is that from building this package, it changed everything. I learned so much about the offer that it was crazy, and that the profit that can be made from this, if you structure this correctly, was crazy. And so the very next time we started selling, we went from $2,500 to a $15,000 package, right? We sell this for more. There's upsells and all kinds of stuff integrated into this. But this $15,000 package was not just us doing everything. We created a package whereby we partnered with other people and they were getting profit as well as part of this, and we were getting profit as well. But we packaged it in a way that it made sense to people that this was an amazing offer, because we saved this package, saved people $50,000 to $80,000 in the journey that they were going to take with their real estate. So that saving was something that we could balance against and saying, well, you're saving that amount of money, so spending this is a huge benefit. So this became super easy to sell because we positioned it in that aspect. Now we were making $6,000 to $7,000 with the upsells and even more. With this package and the upsells that we created, we had probably in some instances making 20K of profit, which is not bad for a total package. So even up to 25K profit on this model through upsell. So many people don't get this part, is to have a formula, to have a process and a package opportunity for them to go from one place to the next. If you sell packages, it's much easier to sell and you can raise your prices if you're naming it right and if you have a formula that works really well. So that's a fundamental building block. I think that a lot of coaches and consultants aren't taking advantage of these days. The next fundamental building block that you need in business as a coach or consultant is this thing, your message. The message that you send to your audience. Who are you talking to? Who are you connected with? The big fundamental change that I did in my business was, in the beginning, I was so broad with my messaging. My messaging wasn't clear. My messaging didn't connect with my specific avatar. My messaging was all over the place. And I spent a lot of time really, really fixated on this message, to the point where I became so hyper-specific that it was kind of cringeworthy, nearly, to get my specific person, the avatar that I wanted down the pipeline. What message clarity did was give me the ability to only focus on the clients that were really who were going to be part of our business, that we could grow from, right? We needed high net worth people, people that had a certain amount of money, people that had a certain amount of capital, people that were in a specific location, people that were on this specific journey. And so there was very nuance to it, and there was enough. It was what we call MVS, minimum viable segment, for us to make a decent profit on. And what that message did was it resonated with more people as well, but because we were making it so specific, it drew in the right amount of people. So message is probably the most important foundational building block to having success in high-ticket coaching. The more specific, the more engaged you are with people and provide a specific solution, the much more value you can create, the much better that outcome is going to be, and the more people are going to look at you as that expert because you're in that packet and you've got something specific that you can help people with. It's super important. So message and message specificity in a minimum viable segment where you can have clients that are going to get you to that $1 million mark. That's so important. The next building block, I think, is I believe that I've learned in business as a high-ticket coach or consultant is that you need to have an acquisition system. You need to have client acquisition. Now, there's a lot of banter around about high-ticket, low-ticket, webinars, all types of things that can drive you nuts. There's 19 different types of funnels that are popular these days. It just drives me crazy looking at the complexity of some of this stuff just to get high-ticket clients. It doesn't need to be that complicated. We simplified our process. We got rid of all the webinar stuff. We got rid of all the challenge stuff. And trust me, I spent a lot of money doing that to try and get clients. When you're smaller and you're trying to grow, it doesn't make sense. There's too much involved to get to the point of getting the right clients. Just go out and get the right clients. It's a lot simpler. So we got 1, 2, 3 pages. This is a 3-page website. We've got a main website, which is another part of this formula, but we only have 3 core pages where we send people, and these pages are tracked, pixeled, retargeted, and we have a follow-up series that happens over and over again. Now, a fundamental building block for high-ticket coaching and consulting, I believe, is simplicity and shortening the time frame from when the client sees your stuff to the point where they're making a booking. Because when you're selling anything over 5K, you fundamentally need to be in front of somebody. So the more frictionless you make that sales process, when they get to the sales call, your script that you have becomes so much more fluid, less friction. It's easier because I understand who you are, and the mechanics of the script builds that desire and gets them over the line. So from a point of client acquisition, a fundamental building block is to have a process that drives clients through your funnel as quickly as possible and constantly engages them, right? Now, you don't need a lot of pages. You need a landing page with a video. You need a calendar. You need a thank you page. When you have those components, everything you build around that just amplifies this, and these are the core components for a successful high-ticket coaching and consulting business. If you do it properly, there's lots of profit to be made, and in the back end, or however you design your back end, your ascension model, you send people to these higher ticket stuff. And the journey to that is so much easier when you have all this other stuff happening. So have a system that simplify your life as simple as possible, but just get good at all the stuff that surrounds that simplicity, because skill is very important. The skill that you put into all this is going to be very important. That's why it's always good to work with other people. But I find that in my business is that working with other coaches and consultants and getting their expertise and things like advertising, marketing, building systems, all that kind of stuff has been super valuable for us in building our businesses. And I highly recommend that. Work with people that have already gone the distance and can help you shortcut the process. Putting it together a system like this is simple, but it's not easy, right? There is a lot of nuance to it, and the nuance is where your skill comes in. But once you have a system that's leveraged and it's set up and it's functioning, then everything becomes automated. It's simple. So that's what our Red Diamond Funnel has done for us. It's helped us keep our business flowing consistently with clients, and it doesn't stop. So systems, simplified funnel, core foundational building blocks to a high-ticket funnel. High-ticket coaching business. And then finally, one of the big things I see a lot of people making mistakes with these days is they don't have a trust engine. Now, let's face it, it doesn't matter how much you want this not to be true, but social media plays one of the biggest impacts in decision-making process in this day and age. So if you're somebody that goes out and cold calls, or you're somebody that wants to build a business, or you're somebody that's just looking to scale up and get, more known, without social media as a backdrop to that, it's going to be difficult and expensive. 99% of people will do research. They're smarter these days. They're going to research you online and see what your capacity is, how valuable you are, what other people are saying about you. And so if you don't have a social media presence and a system, it leaves you dead on the ground because your competition or somebody else is going to be doing this. And social media for us is about building curiosity and interest. These, we call them curiosity angels, which is social posts that we put money behind. We pay for our social media so that we can get ahead of the competition. And then we use strategic systematized targeting to draw our clients into the funnel, into our sales process. We have another component of social media which we call butterfly ads. These butterfly ads, and you can imagine a whole field of butterflies just floating around, getting people's interest in what we're doing. And this works very, very, very well. And you don't need to put a lot of effort into social media if you can put money behind your social media, and it doesn't cost a lot. It just has to be strategic. If you strategically know how to do social media and put money behind it, you can outpace your competition by 100-fold. Just has to be done right. It can be a bit tricky and complicated. Ultimately, we are looking for that perfect client, right? We want the perfect client coming down our pipeline, and it doesn't happen magically. You can spend months and months cold calling. You never know what you're going to get. And oftentimes that cold calling process, even though it can be good, it's draining. It wears you out. It's so time consuming, answering messages, trying to keep on top of people, and trying to hire people that are diligent and efficient and effective costs money. So it's draining into your profit. If you can leverage advertising and social media to drive your clients into your funnel, so much more efficient, so much more cost effective, and so much more leverageable to do. And so, we can go to Facebook, YouTube, Google, all of these platforms make it so easy these days to do this. All right, so let's talk about simple client acquisition. Simple client acquisition comes from removing all the clutter around your funnel process. The quicker you can get somebody in front of you who wants to sell high ticket or who wants to buy a package off you, the better you are and the easier it is to work your business, keeping things simple. So client acquisition, the simplest form of client acquisition I have found to date is to use the power of social media, paid social media. Now, a lot of people might have different opinions on this, but this is my perspective and my opinion is that I spent a lot of time posting and stuff in the beginning, trying to do this whole organic thing and trying to work out, with all the stuff and noise that's going around, how to do this best. And then one day I said, well, they have this post that's been sitting around, it was really good, and I thought it would be of value. I put some money behind it, and then all of a sudden that post just blew up. It went crazy, this organic post that I put in it. And I was like, wow, that is really awesome. People were asking questions, I was getting feedback around it, and people were communicating with me, connecting with me. I was like, well, that is amazing. If I spent this small amount of money and I got that huge impact, that's going to be something that we can work with. And so we eventually created the system with paid social media to drive the right types of clients into our business. And this is a funnel and a process that we created for our clients. So we help all of our clients with this, to install this and put all the frameworks and processes in place to be able to drive efficient and simple client acquisition. When you get people engaging with you and you have a system that drives that results where they see your posts and then they see more posts and they see more posts, they see more posts, that does huge benefits for your business. It raises your status by a factor of 100 and breaks through that trust barrier so much easily. When people see you over and over again, it makes a difference. Okay, so this brings me to the next part, which is about whether you should scale or not scale in your business. And part of one of the fundamental building blocks in any high ticket business, and I was talking about that before, is about having control that so many people don't have in place, is this component down here. And this is mostly about control, having control of your business. I speak to a lot of businesses and entrepreneurs who spend a lot of their time totally overwhelmed, worn out, feeling burned out. It's affecting their mental health. And when you get to the core of it, of why a lot of people struggle is because they're trying to clamber through everything by themselves. They're trying to figure things out, putting things in place, and then their mind changes, or then imposter syndrome kicks in, or in they're chasing another shiny object, and they're not staying focused, or they don't have the process to stay focused. And usually it's that fear of failure that is the foundational block to that. But what I found in our business is that when you have an alpha team, or people working with you, or people that you can rely and trust on, and you have a process, a management process and communication process that works really well, it alleviates so much pressure and stress. Because within the structure is simplicity. In other words, when you have and you're building out your framework to run your business, I believe one of the most important things to remove that overwhelm and to have clarity on the day-to-day running and nuances and minutiae of a business is to have clear roles and responsibilities. We talk about it, we help our clients with this, understand what your organization chart looks like. Who are the people that you're going to have in place and do you need to run your business? What are those roles and responsibilities? What do they look like? And what processes does each individual play in the part of running your business to keeping that flow happening? Because there's a lot of stuff that happens and sometimes you can't be on top of everything. And so the process needs to matter so everybody knows their place and role in that roles and responsibilities. And you need, finally, as much as automation and all that technology is important to this, checklists. If you don't have checklists, you can't automate. If you don't know what to automate, the point of automation becomes mute. That discussion becomes mute. So as soon as you have a clarity about that, who is working through what part of the process in the business, you then know what the flow is. And then leveraging that and creating that automation where things just become simpler, right? That's when life becomes really awesome. And so to take this into context, to scale or not to scale means how much control do you have over the processes of your business? Because if you don't have these fundamental processes in place, an org chart at least, like an org chart, you know how much clarity that creates in a business when you know who's doing what and even what types of people you need in your business even. Some people overhire, some people underhire, some people don't know who to hire, like because they haven't mapped out this process. So it's really important in a high-ticket coaching and consulting business, especially if you want to grow and scale. Even if you're small, even if you're just one single person and you've got you rely on virtual teams, even on a part-time basis, you need the clarity, you need the process, and you need the steps to help you drive that so you can automate stuff so life becomes easier. So if you're thinking about scaling, hold off a minute, take a moment to think about this component, because you're going to lose control and it will become very onerous. It will burn you out more if you're trying to scale too fast without the fundamentals in place. And take a minute to put in place the right frameworks, processes, roles and responsibilities, and checklists. Now, we help our clients with this stuff. I'm giving you all this insider information because I believe that when you get clear on these things, it's going to help you simplify your life and help you grow into that next layer without feeling all that overwhelmed, without being confused and complicated, feeling like you're going to get burnt out. So I want to talk about the very, very last. This is the bonus that I wanted to talk about. This is number 4. There is a journey that every client goes on, right? No one knows. There's a big portion of the population that doesn't know you. Some people call it cold traffic. It's just, those people just don't know you, right? They've never had any engagement with you. They don't know that you exist. Now, there are people, obviously, that have a concern. They have something they want to change in their life. And when it comes to high ticket, there's certain reasons people will take a step forward to doing something, right? If they were buying a luxury car, they're looking to improve their lives with a luxury car. They have the point of view of wanting to be recognized or have status, or they have a problem or a pain or frustration that they need to work through and alleviate. You're going to be the answer to helping them solve that problem. But the thing is, every journey starts with a want. It doesn't matter whether there's pain or profit as the outcome, or wealth or whatever. If somebody doesn't want to do something, there's no way they're going to do it initially. If you're not at least first attracting the people that are wanting to do something, you waste a lot of money and time. So that's a starting point. Now, they don't know you. And the want happens when that pain or problem or desire or thing that they want to achieve becomes a priority. For some reason or whatever that is, whether they've learned that they can find a solution or something new has come on the market or something they didn't know they had before could be now solved, for whatever reason, they've turned the thing that they want to do into a priority. This priority then means they're going to start maybe engaging, initiating, have that in front of mind, or that thing is going to be something they want to consider. When they want to do something, your journey at the end or the resolve at the end becomes a lot easier. They go from want to being curious about the thing that you put in front of them. Right? Now, you've obviously got to get out there and get in front of people for that to make sense. And that's why we have a social media system that we've created that helps engage those people in a point when they're wanting, and the curiosity then is initiated. Curiosity means that they want to do something, that prioritize this. They've been doing some searching or they've been doing some stuff on the internet, Facebook, Google, YouTube, whatever, has put your marketing material in front of them, and they go, oh, that looks like something I could dive into. And they become curious. There is no other way to get people down a pipeline or down a path unless you've created curiosity. Curiosity is the fundamental starting point to getting people towards you. Once you've got them curious, this is when the game starts. This is when you start driving them through the next stages. So you'll see that in our pipeline, each of our design mechanisms is about getting the next stage happening. And the next stage is interest, right? And interest is a very powerful psychological mechanism, because now they're going from, hey, this seems interesting, to, hey, I'm going to do something. I'm interested to take the next step. And when people become more interested in you as the individual, the business, as a person, then you're in a very powerful position. Now you can run the machine to take them to their next journeys. And if you do this right, and if you have the mechanics in place, the journey from interest turns into the journey of trust. And between that journey of interest and where they trust you is an important piece of the puzzle. And this is a secret thing that a lot of people are missing out on. And this is why we have developed a system where social media becomes a core of everything we do to engage and facilitate building trust with our audience. And it's this. This is huge. When I understood this, and it takes a little bit of thought process to dive into this, but I'll try and keep this simple. But this mechanism, the psychological mechanism, is a huge impact these days online, and this is something that you can leverage if you know how to do it properly. It's an unfair playing field when you understand this component, and it's called status. Status. When you trigger off in somebody's mind that you are valuable as an asset or as a person or as a business, and that you've raised yourself in a level of status amongst everyone else of your peers, that gives you autonomy over that decision-making process, meaning that you now have the power to drive the sale a lot easier than the next person. And without status, it becomes harder, especially when you're competing. You can design status into your business, you can create it, you can systematize it. There's many different ways to build status in your business. And this is the biggest, easiest pathway to break through the trust barrier. Right? When you got the trust barrier there, right, you got to get people to trust you. If you have a level of status, the path from interest to trust becomes very, very easy. And so what does status mean? Status is a very broad term, and I know there's multiple layers to this. This is not the status that they see as in they want to own a mansion, right? That's the result. Or they want to, be seen amongst their peers as this amazing person or famous or an influencer, etc. That can be the result, right? Driving them, that's one way. People that are aiming for status and want to get something done, that is a driver or a motivator through the sales pipeline. It can be. But this is the status position that you have as a business, where you have become that influence in their life. And creating that status and doing a lot of research in this and reading a lot of white papers and science data around the position of status, that right now online, the research shows quite conclusively that status plays a major impact on buying decision. Status, that you are perceived as a status figure or a status business, means that that journey is going to be easier if you can create this. Millions of dollars are being spent on building status because that's a journey to trust, like it's a barrier to breaking into the trust barrier. And what does that mean? So online, there's a lot of variables to this, but from the simplicity of being a coach, consultant, or expert, we would say that these are the things that I have learned and discovered that have created value in our businesses, that helped us stand out, and we've been able to hack it. So, number one is consistency. Consistency. This is number one strategy for building status. If you are showing up consistently in front of your potential clients, you're going to have an elevated level of status. And when you know how to use social media the right way, to retarget people the right way, it gives you a leverage point that is very rare, and a lot of people don't know about this. Consistency. The other big lever that you can pull when it comes to building status is brand. Brand is a very powerful lever to pull, to introduce, to show people you have status. So many businesses these days, especially coaches and consultants, don't put enough value on brand. Brand equity is a key ingredient for having high-ticket products that you can sell and creating that profit level, and having the layer of status that's needed to drive a sale over the line. And the more status you can show, the better you are. One of the core ingredients for that is brand. Brand stands at the heart of status. These days, people need to see brand. That brand connection really builds huge value. Then another big component that I think is super necessary for the status that you create is expertise. When you can show people your expertise and you can provide loads of value and people can see that value that you're providing, your expertise raises your level. Like for instance, if you were at a party and you saw your professor from university at this party, and you had one of your mates was in that party as well, right? Your mates comes over and you're walking towards your professor, and this mate walks towards you, and you're kind of introducing yourself to your professor, and you say, hey, I haven't seen you for a while, whatever. And you start having a conversation. And the conversation was about a specific topic. And your professor has a degree and he understands and has expertise on that topic. And your friend gives his point of view on that expertise. And as much as you care and love for your friend, the expertise that he gives you is not going to be as valuable as the expertise advice that your professor would give you, because he has expertise, he has knowledge, he has foundational experience in that thing, and that elevates your professor to a higher status level where you would listen to that person rather than your friend. And that is a huge mechanic that a lot of people don't understand. And people get caught up. Oftentimes I see coaches and consultants, they're afraid, they have imposter syndrome. They think they're going to die if they go and do videos online. They're worried about people going to say stuff about them. But you have knowledge inside of you. You have things that you can teach. You can learn and relearn and recreate and go out and tell people new and different things. It's not really that hard if you have a framework of how to teach and educate people. So imposter syndrome needs to be gone, and you need to start teaching people, and you need to have a brand around that, and you need to be consistently getting in front of people. This will elevate your status, and in turn will allow you to break through that trust barrier so much easier, and then you can start selling, because once you go through that trust barrier, the next layer is desire. Desire. The people who want or desire to work with you, that is the pinnacle that we're aiming for. Because if people don't desire, they might want to find a solution, but their desire to work with you, if that's not amplified, they're going to go somewhere else, or they'll find another solution, or they just won't do anything. And so your core mechanics there for desire is having a powerful and impactful sales process that drives people through there, that's systematized. And at the heart of creating desire is a really powerful sales script, right? So we have a SCORE sales script that we have, that fundamentally is simple. I will talk about all these pieces as I go through all of my videos and break all of these down, and I'll show you everything that we do to build a successful world-class coaching and consulting business. I can't cover everything in one video as much as what I like to, but we're covering very important components to this. So the journey to desire is a fundamental context of high ticket. And at the heart of that journey is status. I think that if you know how to leverage status, you can build that into your business. You're going to stand out from the crowd. Your competition is not going to be able to mess with you because you're going to have some powerful stuff that's working for you, right? I hope that's been of value for you today. My name is Matthew White. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you on the next one. Please go ahead and watch this video next. This is one of our videos that will take you on our journey and show you more information about how you can build your own world-class coaching and consulting business. I'll see you on the next one.